Microsoft has killed the BSOD and introduced the BSOD. That's right, after nearly 40 years of blue screens, except for that short period with Windows Vista, but nobody remembers that. Microsoft has decided that they want to, and this is a quote, improve clarity and provide better information on their kernel panic error screen. So gone is the blue screen of death, and in is the black screen of death, which will now list the stop code and the application that triggered it. But riddle me this, Mr. Luke Lafreniere. What, if anything, would have prevented Microsoft from putting that information on a blue screen?
Yeah, they didn't have to make literally any changes other than just adding information that should have been there for the last entire amount of time. This is just dumb. I am actually more annoyed than I should be, but very annoyed.
Well, I, for one, am actually pretty happy about at least part of this.
The more information is good.
Yeah, the more information is a huge plus. I mean, the number of times that I have encountered an error on a Windows-based system and had it just say, error at handling at 0x0x8322, and you Google it and it's just like there's no information. It's like, brother, if you know what caused the crash, which you must because there's some kind of code that has to indicate something, tell me. And a lot of the time, I still remember the first time I fired up the reliability history and the, what's the other one? So there's reliability monitor and performance monitor has some reliability stuff in it as well. But the first time I fired up reliability history, and I was like, oh my God, it just tells you in plain text, this was caused by your NVIDIA driver. Thank you. Why wouldn't it just say that right on the crash screen where any user would know where to find it? Like that's a huge plus. I'm super down with the info, but like your take. I just hate when companies take like everyone liked this. I mean, no one liked, getting a blue screen.
No, but they liked that it was the blue screen. It was part of the culture.
And you know what? Microsoft, I actually really loved when we went from the old blue screen of death.
The little unhappy face was awesome.
To the little unhappy face. I liked that they added the progress bar for dumping the error logs.
Just add the info to this.
And the funny thing is they actually have always had some information about the error. So, and it's actually here as well. That's a really bad screenshot that we can't really see, but there is information. They had a QR code. I don't really see the point of losing the iconic blue color.
Yeah, just don't change the color. The rest of it's great. I have no issues. Please, yes, add more information. Fantastic. If the title was Microsoft upgrades the blue screen of death, it would have just been awesome.
Yeah.
It would have been great news.
I mean, every time Microsoft has upgraded core operating system utilities, things like Task Manager, I think
Sweet.
We've met those changes with extreme positivity. In fact, I was back on an older version. I forget what version of Windows I was on, but I was on an older version of Windows that doesn't have a lot of the new quality of life features of the current Task Manager.
New Task Manager is way better.
And I was like, man.
Search, dude?
This sucks.
Search is fantastic.
What?
Search in the Task Manager.
On Windows? Oh, jeez.
Oh, no. Only in the Task Manager.
I thought you meant Windows Search. No. I was like, brother, are you actually high?
What are you talking about?
It's not even April the 20th. What are you even doing right now?
No, just the Task Manager. Well, a really old Task Manager didn't have search.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, Luke rage baiting. 100%.
I wasn't trying to.
Okay, our discussion question, and I want to get into this because I actually think that our writing team is onto something here. Please read entire question before reading. Please read entire question before reading. Please read entire question before reading. These are my instructions, so I'm going to ignore them. Microsoft seems scared of their own janky legacy.
Before reading aloud.
When we were working on the...
They missed one word.
When we were working on the Altair sleeper build, the brand asked us not to use Clippy in it because of Clippy's kind of controversial history. But the thing that Microsoft, or at least the thing you got to understand, Microsoft, huge company. So there's going to be people at Microsoft that totally get it, all the way to people at Microsoft who don't get it at all. And most people are going to land somewhere in between. So the particular person we were talking with, who I think actually worked for an agency for Microsoft, not even Microsoft directly, tried to talk us out of putting Clippy in that Altair build. But the thing that they didn't seem to be attuned to is that culture moves a little bit faster than corporate policy, and people actually like Clippy now. Clippy is like...
People like the prequels now.
Kitschy and retro. Like, if Microsoft made like a desk ornament, giant paper clip with googly eyes and a smile that you could just have as like decor in your home office or whatever, people would legitimately buy that. Like if they did a limited edition Clippy statue. Clippy holds a special place. Dude.
Yeah, of course.
Dude, would you consider like you know those little vinyl figurines, like little collectible vinyl figurines?
Sure.
You don't buy anything, but put yourself in the mindset of someone who buys a thing.
Elijah.
Okay, sure. Would you? Okay, but can't be Elijah because he's too young to remember any of this stuff. Remember the little dog in the Windows XP search that would like go get things for you and stuff?
Yeah.
Would you buy like vinyl figures of the various XP like search mascots and stuff like that?
Okay,
like,
so no,
how
because
collectible would that be?
As we've established, I don't really buy stuff, but if they're like, we did a long time ago, we had like a desk budget.
Yeah.
If I had a desk budget, absolutely. I would buy that for my work desk for sure.
The dog, the wizard.
The little dog.
Get the wizard.
The little dog, the wizard, and Clippy as like a trio would go so hard.
That would be so cool.
I was reminiscing about the install wizard like last week. It used to be awesome.
So do you think this is part of the same kind of, I don't know what it is, discomfort with sort of troubled parts of your history that we encountered when they didn't want us to have Clippy in the video? By the way, we drew a line. We were like, there were a couple of things that they were not brand safe enough for them. And we were like, we figured we probably weren't going to get away with that. And we pulled it out. But they wanted Clippy gone. We said, no! Clippy stays. And we were 100% right. Like, the audience freaking loved it. So that was really cool. Microsoft was actually shockingly easy to work with on that. Like, every brand, guys, you got to understand, every brand has their, like, weird sensitivities and their history and their policies and all that. So, yeah, 100%. What was I had a long conversation earlier this week with Bridget and Sarah from Creator Warehouse. And we were kind of talking about, what do we envision as the brand for CW? Because up until now, CW has mostly been an internal department that creates white label products for LTTstore.com and for Linus Tech Tips and our various media properties, right? But in the longer term, Creator Warehouse absolutely has the chops to create white label products for someone else or create its own branded entities or whatever, right? Like, if we're talking on a long enough time scale, 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years, right? What could that team not do? What would you look the CW team in the eye and say, no, you couldn't do that?
They could probably get a rocket into space.
Oh, well, okay.
No, I bet you they could. Okay. Just not manned. I bet you an unmanned rocket, they could do it.
So, okay. With that in mind then, it was a really cool, really open conversation, and what we were really focused on is sort of what are our core values, what are the key pain points we're trying to alleviate for the average consumer, and what should our brand voice be? And one of the conversations that we kind of got into it a little on was around the words geek and nerd.
Okay.
So I'm not going to say who was on which side because that's not important for the conversation right now. Well, yeah, like I don't want people to be like, oh yeah, that person, they have such a stupid perspective on this or whatever, because one of the things that came out of that conversation is that while a lot of people are not offended by them or even self-identify as a keyboard nerd or a tech geek or whatever the case may be, for a lot of people, those words are a little divisive. And so one of the things that I think we kind of settled on at the end of the conversation, although nothing's ever really in stone, I think that the world changes, and if we're not willing to change alongside it, then we're going to be left behind. But one of the things that was kind of settled on up until now was, hey, that's not going to be part of like our CW corporate branding. Maybe you could have like a super laser focused sub-brand that is like, geekware or, or something like that. Like, and this wasn't even part of the conversation, but like, like super streetwear looking, but like everything's stuff. A tech reference or something like.
You mean techwear, not streetwear, right?
No. I mean like
streetwear?
Yeah. I'd call it like geekware. And it's like styled like streetwear, but it's like everything's got like tech references or something. We wouldn't do that. Like, it's a bad idea. Don't worry. But just like, that's an example of the kind of thing that, I think we could be comfortable using a word like...
Oh, I like that.
Like geek for.
Textiles?
Textiles. Okay, anyway.
But like spelled T-E-C-H?
The point is that
It's pretty good. Frank Reynolds in chat. It's not me. It's good, though.
The point is that every brand has their own kind of like sensitivities. And one of the things that, not everyone necessarily realized is that those words can be really divisive for people. And sometimes I think I think it's easy to project our own feelings on things. So, for us, we're sitting here going, oh yeah, the blue screen of death is like cool. But that doesn't change the fact that for a lot of people working at Microsoft, the blue screen of death could be like a really negative part of their job. If that's something that they are dealing with basically constantly, is partners, customers, their own internal support agents, just constantly talking about how much they hate this thing because of the negativity associated with it. Like, it's an emotional connection. Every time you see a blue screen of death, something bad happened. I'm not saying I agree. I think that it's also equally an iconic part of Microsoft's brand.
Even the acronym is still the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they're not getting away from anything. They just made it boring.
Yeah. So our question is, how do brands navigate the nostalgia for their rocky past while successfully branding for a modern audience?
Embracing failures practically always wins.
I think the smiley face was a huge win. I think there are
Smiley face was an amazing win.
I think there are ways that they could make it even friendlier. Like, I think if you had a rotating kind of, okay, like, how Microsoft has those automatically rotating wallpapers for your lock screen?
Yep.
Like, you can just tell it, like, I don't know, you pick a lock screen, wallpaper for me or whatever. Like, I think if every blue screen looked a little different like that, that'd be kind of cool. Like, that'd be a way. I'm just saying, that's a way to modernize it.
Sure.
I mean, if you don't agree, I'm open to it.
Just being friendlier in general with it. Like, what do I have, like a section that literally just says, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And then it details like some next steps that you could take, something like that. Yeah, there's a bunch of ways they could make it better. Just being like, we're going to hue shift it to black is not one of them.